Hey,
Say it to you.
You know what?
The countdown.
You see, that was karma. That was the universe saying the countdown is pointless. It's distracting you from the purpose right now.
God, it's like, nah.
But I thought you just want to do like an intro or something.
We ain't listening
Nah,
to the countdown, man.
You see, the intro is always the end of whatever conversation was happening before the mics came on.
Alright.
And
Right.
then they mysteriously come on.
Yeah. So it's
Oh,
not.
it's like all of them. Maybe shoot his tongue like shoot another some piggy.
Yeah. So the intro to the is whatever was happening here just before the mics came
Okay,
on.
sweet.
Bro.
But speaking of which, man, we back. We're officially back.
Yeah, nigga.
Everybody listening in.
What song was playing? I don't know what song was playing.
We don't know what
haven't
song
put
was
it there.
playing. That comes afterwards.
I don't know, man.
That comes after. It's gonna be a dope song. We know this shit. But we're still sitting with the great
ByLwansta. Dog, do you feel offended when people forget the buy? Don't forget their buy.
Please say the bye.
You
man.
paid for it. Like Edison Pike said, man. Don't forget the dog because you paid for it.
Listen.
Honestly,
Yeah.
I forget.
You forget the
But I'm like,
Well, how
no, not that I forget, but it's like, okay, I forget in the sense that, you know, if you don't say it,
That's whatever.
whatever, you know. And I was like, oh shit, I once said, please don't say that bye. I mean, but it just says a lot about you if you say the bye.
I remember, and I appreciate that about you being a scholar of like Lil Wayne, because please say the baby.
Yeah,
Like,
please
you
say
know,
the baby. Who else
like,
had, was it? It's just him.
The,
Weezy F baby.
yeah, please say
yeah.
the baby.
Sure.
And I love how through the years the F meant so many other fucking
Yeah,
things.
man.
It was so cool to just live through the years and like, oh shit, what the F means in this album.
And I'm also in pharmacy and philanthropy.
Don't pull some crazy shit out of this shit. Phonetics and shit. But anyway, I wanted to speak on something. I'm trying to see how I should attack this.
Yeah, nigga, put it out there, bro. Yo, can I go first?
Go ahead.
Yeah,
fam.
nigga.
Go ahead.
So, have we had the conversation of what these conversations are meant to be? Not really interview, it's just a fun conversation.
Sure.
You know, it's the reason you make music is because you are a person, right, who's lived a life, had experiences, and you are able to express yourself, your understanding, your whatever, right, through the art form that is either graphic design or music or whatever, you know, whatever else you can access, right? So this conversation is really with that motherfucker there, right?
Sure.
That motherfucker who feels sometimes, who spends hours on the internet, right? The motherfucker who remembers, you know, seeing some shit, people not being on game about the music, then meeting those people and them seeing that, oh, this nigga is actually, I'm the one who doesn't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. The problem is not the artist. I'm the one who just doesn't know.
Yeah.
All right. So it's trying to have that conversation. Like that's why I asked, like, how does it feel, the change of all of that? What I want to ask is, you say you came up in the internet.
Yeah.
Right. So you had to create a personality in an existence. Yeah. You know, it's like you had to log on. What was that movie? Ready Player One.
Yeah.
Do you see Ready Player One? Yeah, right? That's the world,
sure.
right? You came in there and then you in that world, there's an existence, there's a whatever, you've got your superpowers and you can do whatever the fuck you can do, right? But the internet is different from the real world, like you said, right? So at some point, you have to transition to whatever is happening in the internet must make sense in the real world,
Yeah.
right? But you're still making music there, bro. Like, you're on that's why I was asking, how much social media time do you have, right? How much of what happens in social media is real for you?
Sure.
I think that's really the question. How much of what, because you've been in the game, in the internet for so long, how much of what happens in social media is real, matters, means something, that actually affects you, you know? And if there is a way of, like, you know, separating what matters and what doesn't matter, do you have a way? I don't think there's like any fixed way of living life. I think you must always try to find a solution to life's problems that is appropriate to the problems you're facing at that point. Right? To assume that there's only one way to deal with something, or there is one answer to all issues, is problematic. But how do you deal with that? Is it a problem? Have you been there long enough to not, I don't know, be jaded by what is happening there versus what is happening in real life, to be able to balance the difference in, I guess, expectations that are created by, you know, the buzz in the internet and maybe real life and all that jazz stuff. Does it change anything? Do you think if you're in a different generation, it would have, if you're born maybe 5 years earlier, you know, you'd be struggling? If you were born 5 years later, like these young cats now, right? That fucking internet hustle, bro. Like, talk to me about that dichotomy, bro.
All right. Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
No, I just went on a rant.
Yeah, bro.
This wasn't even a question, it was just a rant.
I mean, I was trying to formulate an answer, like, as you were talking as well, because I've thought about it, and especially recently, like we were saying earlier about me being out and about, and people recognizing me, and people wanting to take pictures, people wanting stickers, me going to these things to kind of like be accessible to these people who want stickers, or who want, you know, to know if this is a real person, you know. And ironically, despite, like, you know, all the effort I put into the internet, or rather like just it being the canvas for a lot of the stuff in the beginning, I've never put like a lot of I don't know, how would I put this, not pressure or value, in a sense, like if I got 100 likes, you know, I didn't say, oh shit, like that means I can do, or this means this. It was never that, you know. And I never even thought of what I'm saying, but when I began to realize, and I did the maths, I was like, this is it. Because when I'm out and people recognize me, and people, like, you know, talk about these things, people acknowledge the music, people, because it's all the music, you know. It's not like
it stems from.
It's not like they saw me doing something else, like I was trolling somebody heavy, or I was naked, or my nudes leaked, or something. It's literally just the music, like the sonic component, and people can put two and two together and see this is him, you know. And that is always like a surprise for me, you know. It's like, oh, so this music is, so like literally those, like these followers or these likes I have, when I get out and I'm in the street and somebody comes to me, it's always a surprise. You know, not so much a surprise when like, oh, I wasn't expecting this, but it's always like, oh wow, this is okay, cool.
Is it like you surprised that they get the product you're trying to put across?
More than anything, it's like now the music is getting somewhere. Because some people, see people on an event, they're not going, but they'll say going. Things like those, like that. Obviously, that's the nature of a lot of things, and not just the events. Like people can like your thing, but they might not like it. But you know, so I've never put a lot of value on the internet, despite it was just more of a canvas for me. It was never so much about the people. It was just about, okay, this is what I can do from here. You know, I don't have all these resources, but the internet. So the internet has always been like a resource for me. Like, you know, which downplays the whole thing of being like a.
So you can understand it from the perspective of a digital artist.
Sure.
As a canvas, you've got a product, right? And you've got this canvas that gives you access to this major number of people.
Sure.
And that's your engagement with it.
Yeah.
Right? When I'm here, I'm at the job. Do you understand? It's a job function instead of...
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like when I go, what I do, like, I think I've been doing it for the past few weeks. Like, in fact, even more months, actually. I wake up, in fact, since Bajonga, actually.
Yeah.
I wake up every morning and I check my stats. Check my streaming stats, check which song's doing better, which song, if these songs have beaten Lindy Way.
Do you know how many views you have on the Colors show?
Yeah, it's sitting on 600,000, 600,000, 689 or 87 cents.
Listen, the man has it down to the thousands.
She's done our man at down.
No, it's fine.
We understand.
But you know, so I check things like those all the time, and like I also make sure I look. I go through the comments.
So when you're checking, are you checking? Because I mean, that could be a functional source of information,
It's
right?
feedback,
Bit of
yeah.
information, right? But does it give? Is there any lingering satisfaction outside of that? Right, because you're sharing a piece of yourself,
Sure.
right? Outside of the business aspect of it, right? There's shit that you share that you don't know. Does it translate? Does it not translate?
Sure.
And all that jazz, right? So, does it not give any consistent confirmation?
I think more than anything, like just like bumping into somebody in the street and him knowing me or her knowing me, or reading comments on the color thing, or just comments on my videos. More than anything, it just says it landed. And it's like I'm not just like fucking doing something that's pointless. The product is being consumed. Literally, that's always the first satisfaction. That feels like it's there. Because I mean, like I get negative comments. Like I checked. I think there's probably like out of the, I think there's about 500. I think on colors. Oh no, 100 and something on colors. 100 and
Negative comments.
like there's no. There's like 100 comments altogether.
Oh shit! I thought this nigga took a tally like
no way.
shit talker 1, shit talker 2, shit talker 3, shit talker 4.
So like literally there's, I think I'm just checking the comments now.
Yeah.
I mean just like how many. So let's say if there's about like 160 something. Out of the negative, like it's okay, let's actually have a look.
What's that?
This is 674 comments. On colors. Negative ones is like 4.
Shout outs.
Did you find every single one of those 4?
Oh, is it like, do I check their pages or anything?
Yeah,
I did one.
You found one.
I just like, so who are you? Just to, like, so my thing with negative feedback is, I accepted it like maybe about 3 years ago that, actually 4, but that people aren't gonna always like me, and they'll have their reasons.
Not everybody.
And that's fair. I feel like that's fair. Because it also depends where they're coming from. If you're just being an asshole, then I won't engage with you because you're just being full of shit. But if you don't like it, I still won't engage with you because, like, what am I gonna say? I'm gonna try to tell you that no, like it. No, you can have your opinion.
So you're okay, yeah.
You have your opinion.
That's where my question was getting to, right?
Like,
does it matter whether or not a particular individual has not given you that favorable response?
Sure.
Right? Or has chosen to talk some shit about your shit, dog. Like you're not an artist and you ain't sensitive about your shit.
Sure.
Do you understand?
I think when it
like you ain't here.
Nigga.
Sure. I feel like, I think if you don't like the product, that's cool. It's just gonna be another journey if I have to try to get into that because I have to understand where you're coming from now, and that's another process. And I don't have all that time to just go into why don't you like me, because I have artists that I don't like, Do you
find them to still be dope? Just that you don't like them?
Yeah, actually, because there's another girl.
Is that a real thing though?
Yeah.
Right, so like there's this other artist now, Sabrina Claudio, right?
Yeah.
She's very soulful, got a great voice, she's beautiful. But I read something that she had some very racist tweets in the long. I was like, fuck this girl. Very talented though.
Dope music. R. Kelly, rapist, dope music.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's a tricky one.
Sure.
That's a tricky one.
But you know what I mean? So it's like, I know.
Weirdo! Oh,
but you know what I mean? So it's
that
like,
nigga writes amazing fucking sketches, bro.
Yeah.
Woozy put me onto them shit like yesterday, bro. Oh shit, nigga.
That nigga
like one of the most creative artists. Like out there. I mean, as far as like one of like artists who can write to a concept, Lil Wayne is one. He did it on Carter 3 on Dr. Carter.
Ooh!
Suddenly he's a doctor.
I told you I was bumping this shit recently. I had all of the Take Care, Carter 3, all the albums. Dog, that track.
Concept.
That track. My God, the diagnosis.
Bro,
the man's telling you, breaking it down.
It's like give Lil Wayne a concept.
Dog, that dude
give him a concept and you'll see.
it.
So R. Kelly is one of those guys. Like he I don't know, he wrote a song for another female artist, and it was just like a concept. You're like damn, and so yeah.
You can appreciate some.
So like, but I mean, if that's who you are as a person, then man, I can't fuck with that. Just like if you're, so with this chick, I haven't even given her music a chance as far as listening to a whole project, but I've heard it, I'm like, I recognize her voice. I recognize her voice if I hear it. It's like, this is racist chick, So like I know I've got artists that I don't like. Maybe somebody doesn't believe in what I believe in. Like some of the negative feedback I've seen about Lindy is like it's a tweet I saw recently, like, I love ByLwansta. I hate the saving part. Because obviously there's reasons that and then some guy was like in the comments, I was like, I hope good guy rap doesn't become a thing.
And it was funny. That's just hate. I'll be like,
listen, I know motherfuckers who just would. Not that I wouldn't write that.
You would.
Nah, I wouldn't write that.
You would.
I would laugh at it if it was said out loud. Right?
Y'all hating ass motherfuckers.
Yeah, man. Do you know actually like on that's just that tangent line on the hating thing? Like we were talking earlier about the Blackface Schoolboy Q album.
Sure.
Bro. And I don't know, we had this conversation earlier about like how much sway a single has.
Yeah.
As far as you listening to the full album, especially with like big artists, where a single is gonna be given airplay, it's gonna be given a video, so you're gonna have a lot of that single before you get to the album.
Sure.
So if you decide, fuck, I really don't like this single, I just don't like, by the time the album comes out, the steam and excitement that you may have had for the album as a whole may not be the same as before the single came out.
Yeah.
Have you lost any music? Have you lost out on any music as a result of shit like that? And then later on discovered?
Yeah, I think like plenty of times, like. I don't know, it's maybe a similar case to like maybe obviously sleeping on somebody.
Yeah.
And then realizing, this is dope.
When somebody tried to put you on a special.
Yeah. And you had whatever reservations you had. And I guess those were fair, but if obviously you come around, then that's your fault.
Exactly. Because the music was dope.
Yeah.
The music ain't changed.
Yeah. So I think with just going back to like social media and how much, value I put on it, I think more than anything, it was always just a canvas for me. It was always just like, okay, cool, this is where I can reach everyone. This is where I can do my stuff from this internet cafe, from behind this computer, from, just some place that's not in Japan, that's not in Paris, but reaching those places through the internet, So it was always just about, okay, it landed. Okay, it's getting there. Like, no matter, be positive, negative, it landed. Obviously I'm hoping for mostly positive, But if I have to go back to like times when I think about, when I start to worry about opinions, it's mostly from people who I guess I respect, And
I want to speak to that because I don't want you fully answering the question before I ask it. You, like, at your age, like, I love this comparison. I love placing people in certain categories and just of comparison of just in the come up. Because in my world, this is how it works. Nasty C came up. Nasty C's my guy, ripping 031, doing it big, right? And he came up talking about like blow up in SA. He blew up at the same time as MT.
Sure.
So naturally we put them together and it was whatever, right? And Nasty seems to have taken that championship belt. He took the dub, right? He took the dub, it seems. And then the kid Aries comes up. I'm like, oh shit! A nigga from the same camp can come through and hopefully avenge his motherfucking brother. And contend in this shit. And then, after this nigga then been on a hiatus, he comes through. I'm like, oh shit, what the odds that this nigga was dope as shit? Why the fuck isn't he in the conversation? Sure. And then we then fast forward to the fact that I was at work watching your performance 2 days ago in France.
Sure.
2 days later, we're here chilling, breaking it down, chopping it up.
Sure.
Right? shout outs to the power of technology, shout outs to the moves you've made, shout outs to everything that's placed you in this position. But I want to speak to the fact that in terms of, especially the internet age that we've grown up in, that we live in right now, when you look at the comparisons made, you take a Nasty C, seen online, shining, chains, cars, shows, all of that shit. ByLwansta, doing shows overseas, doing the thing he loves, but doesn't get the, I don't want to say recognition, but it's not, you're not seen by as many people as yet, shall I say. Do you feel some type of way about that? Do you think back and be like, man, fuck, so many people are sleeping, right? Because the products is the same. That's what